Hi, it's me again. So right now I want to give you an introduction to social welfare policy and programs and include some basic definitions. Unfortunately, the first few lessons are a little drier than the information we'll get into later on. However, we do start to get into some history, which I often find very interesting and often exciting. So the first thing we want to do is look at the definition of social welfare policy. If you go to the New Oxford English Dictionary, what you're going to see is social welfare policy may be defined as government's response to human needs such as food, housing, health care, employment, and other necessities. Many contemporary U.S. welfare policies have their roots or got started in the New Deal programs of the 1930s, which was a response to the Great Depression. This was the first time in our country where there was significant need, and it was the first time we really looked to the government to satisfy that need. So maybe there were times in the past where people were in need, but this was really the first time that there was an across-the-board response by the government. Additionally, if you look at the civil unrest of the 1960s, the Great Recession of 2008, and the COVID-19 pandemic, which I'm sure many of you remember, this brought about major policy responses. There are basic philosophical differences, however, in approaches that Americans believe the United States should take to meet human needs. It's often described in liberal and conservative perspectives. Social insurance, excuse me, and public assistance programs are major responses to poverty and other needs. Disparities based on race, gender, sexual orientation, disability, and other factors might also be addressed through the social welfare policies, sometimes in the form of civil rights legislation. However, racism and other forms of systemic discrimination continue to prevent many Americans from reaping the benefits that others enjoy. And as we go through this, the semester, we'll talk more about that. So our next definition has to do with social justice. This is a condition in which the distribution of the costs and benefits of group membership is perceived to be fair. Now, sometimes we think we're being fair, but not everyone sees it that way. So that's another issue that we're going to be dealing with. And in this first chapter, they will talk about different views of social justice. Values are individual beliefs that motivate people to act one way or another. They serve as a guide for human behavior. Generally, people are predisposed to adopt the values that they're raised with. People also tend to believe that those values are right because they're the values of their particular culture. So often it isn't until people encounter other people from different cultures or different scenarios or are educated differently do they change their values. So that being said, let me go. One of the things I want to do is get you to start reading and start doing the activities in MindTap, and then you're going to find that some of these things will start to make more sense. This lesson involves reading, watching two other videos, one that has to do with the difference between equity and equality, because often that becomes confused, and writing a reflection in MindTap and doing an APA essay just to get you used to citing things and referencing in APA style. Again, if you have any problems with any of this, contact me.